Hey YouTube, this is Brandon, the Prepared Grunt. So, I just wanted to do kind of a quick chat about what is prepping to me. I want to say that prepping to me is not what the average person, I guess, thinks of when they think prepper. You know, a lot of times when I mention that I'm a prepper to somebody, they ask me, "What are you prepping for the zombie apocalypse?" My response, my quick response is, "Yeah, absolutely." I do that in jest. It usually throws them off and they're like, "Wait, what? Really?" um, so, no, I'm not prepping for the zombie apocalypse. I'm not prepping for the end of the world. Um, I am a futurist. I am a fan of science. So I can think of numerous events that would completely destroy the planet to a point that there would be no surviving. Um, so, no, I'm not prepping for those events to attempt to survive something like that because it wouldn't happen. Um, but what I am prepping for, I prep for personal disasters for my wife and I and my kids to make sure that no matter what, I can always keep food on my kids' plates and a roof over their head. What does that entail? That entails keeping track of my finances. At one point in time, I was a homeless veteran. And so, because of that, I've learned how to keep track of my finances well enough to be able to do a whole lot with very little. And I'm continually pushing to increase my income and decrease my expenditures. Um, Always trying to put back money for in an emergency fund. I'm always trying to put back money into an account to build an investment account. I want to no longer be dependent on a job to pay me. So I'm constantly increasing my financial education. That is a form of prepping because in the event like what happened not too long ago where the gym that I work at got shut down because of quarantine, we still had a little bit of income. And so we weren't 100% hurting. It still hurt us. It was still harder on us, but it wasn't a complete end of the world because my paycheck wasn't coming in, or my wife's paycheck, who works at this local school, wasn't coming in. It's still rough on us. It's still very rough on us, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been had I not started those preps. And, you know, as I continue those preps, even now, even during this event, I'm still finding ways to put money back. I'm still finding ways to build up that investment account so that if things get worse, then I have the ability to still continue to take care of my family financially. And also, there's things like insurance. I set up things for my wife in case I die. I'm the primary breadwinner, so I want to make sure that she is taken care of and my kids are taken care of in the event that I pass away. So that no matter what, they're taken care of. That is prepping. All of that is prepping. And yes, All of that takes a little bit of work. It takes a little bit of financial education, but there are numerous sources out there, numerous sources that can help you to learn how to do that aspect. And in my personal opinion, that aspect should be looked at first. Yes, you want to have food storage in the event of a disaster. Yes, you want to have water storage in the event of a disaster. But if you can't afford to buy that food without hurting your monthly expenses, then you need to look at your finances first. You need to learn how to control your finances so that when you run into, like when you decide you're ready to build your food storage up, you have that extra money to throw at it, that extra cash, and you're not taking food off of your kids' plates to put food away for your kids' plates. And yes, everyone can do it. Sometimes you have to cut things out, get rid of your Netflix, get rid of your Hulu, stop buying cigarettes, things like that. Stop buying. My biggest vice is I smoke and I love Bang. Stop buying Bang, stop buying cigarettes, things like that. Cutting those things out, or even cutting them down, can save you a lot of money. And then always pay yourself first. And what that means is as soon as you get your paycheck, you put a percentage, whether it's 10% or whether it's 1%, but you always, even if you're just putting $5 out of your paycheck into a savings account, every single paycheck, put it away into a savings account. That's your emergency fund. Put that same amount away into a second savings account. That's your investment fund. You put those away every single paycheck, and they will add up. Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes it's a little slow. But the more those start to add up, the more you'll find you have to be able to put in there. And the more you put in there, the faster it adds up. And then you can take that investment fund and find ways to make that money work for you. Whether it's starting your own business, now you have the money to do it. Whether it's purchasing real estate so that you can have a rental property, now you have the money to do it because you were putting it away, because you were preparing for that future. Whether it's investing in stocks, there are hundreds of ways that you can use that money to invest and build your sources. And again, there is a plethora of knowledge out there that can be found. I personally, one of my favorites is the Rich Dad, Poor Dad series by Robert Kiyosaki. It's amazing. Then moving on from the financial aspect. After you've gotten your finances into a position to where you feel like you can easily afford to start doing other things to prepare, that's when you start stepping into food. That's when you look to bigger disasters. Financially is mainly personal disasters. Setting yourself up financially with that emergency fund and that investment account helps to cover personal disasters. Now you want to look at bigger disasters like local disasters. Living in Oklahoma, we've had to deal with a few F5 tornadoes. And so I've personally been around and lived through an F5 tornado. And so preparing for that, That's actually a pretty simple event to prepare for. Have a hidey hole. My personal dream hidey hole is going to be something that's big enough that if my house gets taken out, I'm not the most comfortable living in. Sorry about that, folks. My camera cut off for some reason. So, my personal hidey hole would be big enough that I can actually live in it temporarily. Not the most comfortably, it'd be basically everybody's living in one room. But that saves me the expense of going and getting a hotel if a tornado takes out my house, having to go and get a hotel to live in while somebody rebuilds my house. And having homeowners insurance or renters insurance is extremely important for that exact reason. There again, insurance is part of prepping. And having that emergency fund helps with that need. So, that's one aspect, one portion of prepping. Now, while I'm down in that hidey hole, I'm going to need food. I'm going to need water. Guess what? It's an underground area, which means it stays roughly about 60 degrees, 65 degrees year round. Perfect location for food storage. Whether it's canned food, whether it's freeze-dried food, whether it's food that you canned yourself. Perfect temperature for food storage. So now that doubles up as a location for my food storage. And it protects my family. So you see how things slowly build with that investment fund, with that emergency fund, increasing my personal income has set it up to where you can slowly increase and work your way towards longer and longer sustainability. And so these are the things that prepping is to me. It's not an action. It's not an individual action of collecting all of this food and all of this water and guns and ammo. It's a mindset. It's the mindset of, I am going to be ready for anything that I possibly can. It is going to take time, but I am resilient and I will get there. Because believe it or not, those traits that you're practicing, getting yourself ready, building up all of the finances, building up all of that, all of those traits are more valuable in an end of the world situation, or Teotihuacan, end of the world as we know it. Those traits are more valuable than food and water. Because if I have the resilience and I have the mental fortitude and the discipline to build up my finances and build up my food stores slowly and steadily over time, instead of going out and breaking the bank trying to buy a whole bunch of it all at once and then going, oh crap, now I have to sell it because I don't have enough money to pay my bills. Or something like that, going and buying this expensive, crazy, elaborate gun and going, oh crap, now I have to sell it because I can't pay my bills. And the end of the world didn't happen. Building that stuff over time and learning that mental fortitude and discipline will keep you alive far longer afterwards, because you will find ways, with having that discipline and that determination, you will find ways to get your own food afterwards. You will find ways to get water afterwards, because you will have the mindset of, I am not going to die. I will survive this. Whereas the person that maybe had a whole lot of money and just threw their money at it and bought a whole lot of preps, those preps will eventually run out. And if they don't have the discipline, they don't have the determination, or they may not even run out of preps, they don't have the discipline, they're going to get depressed. And they're going to get to a point to where I can't handle this world anymore. And there's a high chance that they're going to take their own lives because the world is just too hard for them, even though they had their preps. The world is hard. Life is always hard. Having that mental fortitude and that discipline is what always pushes you through. Look at the bright side. Look at the good things that come out of every event. When I was homeless, that was the end of the world. It was horrible. No, it wasn't horrible. Because out of that event came my desire to build a program for homeless veterans. Out of that event came my view of the need for that program. And out of that event came my plan to make that happen. So just remember, folks, with everything that's happening, keep a cool head on your shoulders. Keep a smile on your face, because it will get better. Everything will get better. And as long as you remember that deep down in your heart, you will know that you can push through. And as I always say, uplift everyone and have a great day.